Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Wednesday in the Riv after a council meeting last night that was not attended, actually they had a school committee meeting this week too. It was not attended by the people who were voted out. So we started a little early to confuse everybody. CJ was on a rampage here. Everyone wanted to get going. But
a minute early.
I mean, that just goes to show.
Call me a liar for a minute. A minute early.
Yeah, no, a minute and some seconds. I don't know. Hey, Jim. What does that say about these? It's really good because the four people, well, one of them really didn't get elected. I mean, he got in there, through the back door. But the other three people who didn't show up for the meeting were long, they were on, they were voted in by the people. And you know what they proved yesterday by not showing up for their last meeting? They said, we were never there to represent you anyway, you assholes.
Exactly.
We don't care about you. Brad Kilby never cared about you on the school committee, on the city council. He said, hey, I'm taking my last night off. I don't care because I never did give a damn about you. I just did what I was told by the Fuhrer and whoever Fuhrer was in. And it's outrageous, these people, what they do, and they don't care. Mimi Larrivee doesn't show up. What do you mean you're not going to show up, Mimi? And Tommy Corey said what did he want? Honesty or some shit? Didn't he say some dumb shit like that?
Yeah.
Well, I want to tell you something, Mimi. You're a coward. You wouldn't go say that to Kevin Aguiar's face. You wouldn't say it. You sent it in. You went in by mail. I'm not going to go there, look somebody in the eye and say what I mean. And the audacity, the unmitigated gall of that whining little nitwit, Tommy Corey, and her. At least Corey took a term off after they hid everything about Malone.
Yeah, which is something we have to talk about because they were calling for an investigation into Colin and Kevin Aguiar, especially with Rainey Brown saying, oh, you're the ones for transparency. I expect an investigation. I call on this committee to investigate Kevin Aguiar. Well, guess what? It's an outside organization. It's a different community. We can do all the investigating we want. We're not going to get anything.
I'm going to tell you something right now.
You
better never hire Rainey Brown because I guess the only business she gets is where she's politically connected because she's a real dummy. Yeah, you said that had absolutely nothing to do with the Fall River School Committee and school committee business. She was out of order as soon as she went there. Not that she doesn't have a right to that opinion. She has a right to that opinion because you can think anything you want. But the reality is, eggnog alcohol, but she has a right. But Paul Coogan, again, but then again, it probably wasn't malicious because he's a moron. He has no idea how to run a meeting. He knows nothing about parliamentary procedure. He knows nothing about anything except being a high vice principal and high-fiving kids in the hallway. Look, she should have been ruled out of order as soon as she went there. Well, Paul Coogan let her speak because Paul Coogan doesn't like Kevin either.
Right.
He allowed somebody to do that's out of order. I'm sorry. It's got nothing to do with the Fall River School Committee and the school committee business. And then those two losers. I'm going to be in the same room as Tommy Corey next week. I want you to tell me, Tommy, you want the truth? I want the truth. I can handle the truth. Tell me about the investigation of Malone in detail. And you and Mimi covered it up, you two weasels. And you have the audacity to open your sewer at that meeting? Somebody should have bitch slapped you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You people, they have no shame. They're the biggest cover-up artists in the world, and they want an investigation. Remember when Renee Brown was leading the charge to try to get rid of Michelle Dion, the best city councilor we got?
Yeah.
Her and Pat Casey?
Yeah.
So, listen, she was out of order. I don't care if she believes that, that's fine. I don't care. Everybody has a right, but let me tell you something. That's not school committee business. What Kevin Aguiar did, he did in Westport. He was elected by the people to the school committee. If the people are upset about that and they don't want him in, there's two ways to do it. Vote him out in the next election or get a recall.
That's right.
That's the only way he goes. Read the charter, read the Constitution. He's an elected official. I don't give a shit what Mimi Larrabee, these other cover-up artists. That's all they do. Can you imagine Mimi? And she ran again and got elected. Shame on the people of Fall River. These cover-up artists, we still don't know. We know more about the Kennedy assassination now than we know about the Malone. What did Malone do to people? How badly did he abuse people? The women that he abused. How badly? How much was covered up? You know what? Nobody gives a shit. Maybe hopefully the new school committee. I got a 74-page report and part of that report is eviscerating Kenny Pacheco and everything that he's in charge of.
Oh, wait, before you go any further, they all got a 5% pay raise yesterday.
I was just going to say.
For the great job they did.
What does this school committee give them? A 5% raise for getting low marks on everything.
Right.
You wonder why this city's a mess. Stay home. Don't vote. This is what you get. Let's see what happens in the next 2 years. Hopefully these new councilors and these new school committee people will at least tell Paul, somebody learn the rules of order.
Somebody
if you don't know the rules of order, pick up a freaking book. I think they use Roberts in the school committee. They don't use Cushing.
Yes, they do. They use Roberts.
They use Roberts. Now, you and I both know Roberts inside out.
Backwards and forwards.
Cushing's pretty well, too. And Atwood's. I know Atwood's inside out, too. But you're going to run a meeting. Pick up Robert's Rules of Order. And I think they got one for you, Paul. It's called Robert's Rules of Order for Dummies.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, but they do have one.
I know they do.
Yeah, it's got a yellow jacket, I think, on it. So it's Robert Rules of Order for Dummies. Read it. If you can read at that grade level, I don't know. But read the goddamn thing, will you? Please. You're running a meeting. You let somebody talk about something that's totally out of order from the first time she opened their mouth. First time she opened her mouth. Oh, they don't like Kevin. Okay. I don't know what Kevin did. I have my own personal opinion. It's my personal opinion. If I wanted him out of the school committee and they had a recall, they would come up to me and I'd go, well, I'm going to judge him on his performance in the school committee. And I'm not going to sign it.
By the way, Robert's Rules of Order for Dummies is available for $12 and change from Amazon. And they can deliver to you next day. You can also go to dummies.com and get the Robert's Rules for Dummies cheat sheet. So you have no excuse now, Paul.
There you go. You can't. And none of them do.
Right.
All of them don't. Yeah, all of them don't. And you got all the political kiss asses who covered up Malone. And even if they weren't there, they would have covered it up anyway. They don't show up at their last meeting because what they're telling everybody is, we never cared about you guys.
That's right.
We never cared. And if his aide de camp, our boy Hart, would have got voted out, he wouldn't have showed up either.
That's right.
because they don't care.
No, Hart would have showed up last night because he wants 75 citations issued to the Diamond football team because they won the Super Bowl. Okay? He wants a citation for the coach and citations for all the players and all the people on the team. And he also wants December 3rd to be named Diamond Regional Vocational Technical High School Super Bowl win day.
Yeah. And you know what else
if they lose next year, it won't matter because they won this year.
And his son's on the team? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's no, listen, patronage runs. Welcome to Tammany Hall. But listen, Paul Hart does not give two shits about the tax rate.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't give two shits about the water rate. He doesn't give two shits about anything that matters in the city of Fall River. And this is what he does. You know, Paul, you still got your jock strap hanging up in a toilet? I don't know. That's it. You know, it's nice to say clap, clap, clap. Nice. Congratulations.
Right.
This is the big issue. It's him and Kilby. Spend $1 million on a baseball field when we don't have the money. We don't give a shit. It's just our friends from the sports group. You know, there are people that deserve a lot of recognition too. Where's somebody that does outstanding work on the chess club? Did somebody win something at Durfee from the debate club? But they don't give a shit. Most could use rule for no. They should get how to vote for dummies, Steve.
Yeah, really.
You know, how to turn out the vote for dummies. You know.
Well, now that you brought up voting, here's something to think about. There's a bill pending in the House and Senate to allow voters of the age of 16 in Massachusetts.
Oh yeah, that's great.
But they have another bill pending in the House and the Senate raising the status of juvenile offender from 18 to 21. But we're going to give them voting rights at 16.
Listen, this is a democratic state.
I know.
You know, when I was 16, I didn't know my ass from a post hole. All I cared about was what I was going to do with my buddies on the weekend.
That's it.
You're going to give these people who are brainwashed anyway, who spend all their time on the phone like this, you know, you're going to let them vote. Because you know why they want that? Because they'll vote for anybody you tell them to vote for.
That's right.
That's why they want that. But again, look what they're doing. This is what the Democrats love in the blue states. They want, a matter of fact, I think that bill is totally wrong. I think we should raise the age. Patrick, you're a paralegal. I think in Massachusetts, because we got so many Democrats, that we should raise the age to be tried as an adult to 45. Because half of the 40-year-olds are still living in their mother's basement.
That's it.
They're like children. We got 30-year-olds that are like children. They treat them like children now. You have no responsibility at all. There's no accountability anywhere. In the school department, in the city, in a criminal court. Oh, you just burnt somebody to death on a subway? Ah, too bad. All right, we'll give you 6 months probation. We're going to knock it down to a misdemeanor and we'll let you go. I mean, there's two different countries in this world. You got the country in the red states where they enforce the law. Then you got over here where the police, I don't know how we have any police officers in blue states because
they can't do their job.
Because they can't do their job. And if they do their job, they arrest a criminal. 3 hours later, the guy's out.
Right.
It's like, who cares? Look at that woman that killed the guy from Room Full of Blues. Over 100 arrests.
Yep.
Over 100 arrests. How can anybody
still out there?
How can anybody even be out on the street after 100 arrests? And her car was full of drugs. She killed an upstanding guy who was actually nominated for a Grammy at one time with Room Full of Blues. And, you know, the guy was a musician his whole life, was from all attention, was a great guy walking his dog, and he gets mowed down by this moron, you know, and what are the consequences? The guy that burnt stabbed the Ukrainian girl on the subway, had, 50 some arrests, but he had more than that, but they had pleaded him down to misdemeanors. These people are habitual criminals. And in these states, they let them out.
I know.
They don't care. They don't care. Look at our school department. You got Kenny Pacheco's getting eviscerated by that report. We got mold. We spent $4 million, almost $4 million on a company that he loves, and gave a guy a $95,000 a year job after he retired with the city, and they get a 5% raise. And they were basically said they are totally rudderless in that department. There's no leadership. There's nothing. This is what we got. We still got mold for the zillionth time, and we're paying this year, and I'm ballparking it now, but I got a pretty good head of numbers, $1,086,000 and change in fiscal year 2026. That was what was on that sheet that I got buried in here somewhere.
Right.
Okay, we got it. Okay, Patrick's now busting our chops. We got a great candidate. I hear what it is. He's available, huh? He might be available to run for mayor in the next election, too. I don't know. Let's see what happens on that one. But look at this is, we're laughing, but this is tragic. And what they did to them is, look at, everybody's got their right to an opinion. You could you could walk up, if you got the balls, you could walk up to Kevin Aguirre in a coffee shop and say, I think what you did was wrong. I think you're guilty. I think anything you want. And then, fine. You have every right to do that. And the Lincoln lawyer does not have a right, and she should know that. She's supposed to be an attorney. She knows that was out of order. She was on a charter commission. How scary is that? This dumbbell was on a charter.
She was the chair of the charter commission.
Yeah, the chair. Yeah, and I think the chair was smarter than her. But the problem is, she knows that, or supposed to know it. I mean, it's got nothing to do with the school committee business. Citizens, don't they have these big stringent rules that you have to be on the agenda, and it has to be germane to what's on the agenda, what they're speaking about? Isn't that?
That's what it's supposed to say.
Am I wrong about that? If you're watching, Colin, am I wrong about that? I thought that's what the rules said. And, I'm a rules guy. I had to run meetings. I ran them by Atwoods and Roberts. Both. Never by Cushing's, but by both Atwoods and Roberts rules of order. And before I took a chair position, I learned those rules verbatim. But an attorney doesn't know that has no place, and the chair, de facto chairman, Paul, I'm a vice principal, I know nothing about anything, Coogan, let her speak. Why? Because she was saying words that he wants to hear, condemning someone he doesn't like. And look, you can condemn, you can be upset, you can condemn anything you want, but that's neither the time nor the place. There's a time and place for everything. The school committee, but that's what they did. They attacked Michelle Dion viciously in the council more than once, trying to unseat her because they wanted to put in one of their political lackeys. And they're trying to do the same thing to Kevin. Yeah, you're right. We really need to change this. We really need to change this. And we need to have an election to get, as CJ and I have been saying for a very long time, we need ward councilors.
Yes, Patrick, the charter only provides for public input, but the school committee passed rules in regards to citizens' input, saying that it can only be germane to what's on the agenda.
I think that would not hold up in court if they took it. Because what did that Supreme Court decision say? You can say anything you want to them. because they're politicians.
Right.
But, but the thing should be, you can be ruled out of order if it's not germane. You can call them everything under the sun about what is germane to what you're talking about.
I don't think there's any pressure. I just think it's a lot of people bitching.
Well, and I think
they want something to bitch about.
Well, listen, Stevie, I can tell you right now, they were vicious.
Remember, Patrick, the rule that is more conservative or more restrictive is the rule that applies. So while the charter is the governing document, the rules that the school committee have adopted are stricter. Therefore, those apply.
And who said that?
No, that's the way it's always been.
Well, that's when it comes to laws.
That's right.
Not to citizens' input. Citizens' input is protected speech under the Constitution.
I agree.
That will not hold up in court. Now,
then let the citizens take it to court.
Well, I know. And that's the problem. And then let the school committee take it to court. Let the new school committee, because they can't take this kind of shit stand. Because listen, you're right. In the law, if the feds say you can't have a speed limit in excess of 65 miles an hour, and your state says, no, I'm going to make it 75 miles an hour, the feds are going to hold their money.
That's right.
They're going to tell you, well, you want to violate our rules. If you want to make a rule more strict, they'll allow it. If the feds say 65 and you say in Massachusetts, the law will be 55. Well, they're not going to bother them because it's not in excess of their law. But let's get into some other thing about them screwing us over. Maura Healey is going to allow the Fall River residents to get a 55% increase in their heating rates.
Yep.
That great defender of the people, the one who was saying about, I'm going to stop all these increases in rates, except in Fall River. Screw those idiots down there. Yeah, I think she's gone. I really think she's gone. I think there are a lot of, even the wealthier class, I've heard some rumors that they're not happy with her. They are not happy with her at all. And hopefully she's...
Of course they're not happy with her. The woman, picks, of all communities, one of the poorest communities in Massachusetts to allow Liberty Utilities to raise our gas rates. So if you're a Liberty Utilities customer, you can expect that your gas rates will go up 55% if Maura Healey gets her way.
Maybe, let's see what our legislative delegation does on this.
They don't do anything to keep their mouth shut.
Well, let's see what they do. And then you can lynch them all because, this is what you get. And
this is the problem.
Then Maura Healey will spend billions of dollars on illegals.
Right.
But we can pay 55% more on our heating bill.
Right. And just remember, okay, that Maura Healey proposes legislation that benefits her friends, her confidants. Hell, she appointed her ex-girlfriend to a position in Massachusetts. Tell me that's not a conflict of interest.
Of course it is.
She fights having public records rules applied to her and the state legislature. She don't want anything going out publicly.
Oh, no, that's ridiculous. I mean, they're just going along with the state. This is a democratic state. The only thing they know how to do is spend money, and they don't want to have any constraints on them spending money. Yeah, they want a blank check, just like Maura Healey wants to repeal 2.5, which many years ago was there to try to protect the taxpayer.
Yes, Patrick.
And you're right. That's bullshit. The city council, You're going to tell the people, well, I'll tell you right now, if they do that, there will be a 10 taxpayer suit. You're not going to tell me you're going to just go batshit crazy with my tax money. You already screwed me 6 ways to Sunday.
Yeah, you want to give the communities the Community Empowerment Act, which is the right to override Prop 2.5. It allows you to be charged 7.5% on an excise tax bill, which, if you look at Rhode Island, they did away with the excise taxes altogether.
That's right.
A small state, Rhode Island, got rid of them. Why? They were redundant.
Yeah, you can't. Well, you can take it to court based on, you can challenge it in court because obviously you can get a judge to say that, we will require he'll either overturn what they did, be based on, or demand that we put it to a ballot question. And then it's scary in a ballot question because nobody shows up to vote. But the reality is, listen, you wonder why people are running out of this state. These blue states they're incredible. They just can't, Maura Healey has spent hundreds of billions of dollars on illegals. She's still spending on illegals. And like CJ said, you took one of the poorest communities in the state. And it's not going to be associated with income requirements to get fuel aid either. You're going to be screwed on fuel aid. So you can't, they're just picking your pocket in every conceivable way they can, because this is what Democrats do. They don't know how to govern. All they know how to do is throw money at shit and get rich themselves. That's all they know how to do. Look at now what happened. I was one of the few people on X and everything else that called that little weasel over in Ukraine the little thug criminal that he was. And now the big expose has come out like nobody knew it. There are hundreds of billions of dollars missing in the Ukraine. Nobody knows where it went. Now all the senators that were there saying, save Ukraine, send this guy money. They forgot that Joe Biden was over there telling them to not investigate his son before this war even started.
That's
Ukraine
right.
was considered the most corrupt country in Europe before the Ukraine-Russia war started. This guy took over the country, closed the churches down, stopped the elections. He's a freaking dictator. He's a thug. He's a billionaire. All his friends are billionaires. We were paying their health care, their Social Security. We were paying everything with our money. And they're saying, oh, the war. Nobody got shit over there. The people of Ukraine got nothing. This is what Democrats do best. Send them money. We'll make money. We'll buy stocks in the war industries to make money. And nobody will ever account. And that's what they finally figured it out now, that he's a criminal thug. That's all he was, all he's ever been. But we knew that before.
Yes, we did.
But nobody, it's like, oh, shit, you can't say anything bad about Ukraine because, they're fighting the Russians. Well, I'm not saying anything bad about the Ukraine. I'm saying something bad about the guy who is the dictator. They call Trump a dictator. You imagine if Trump closed the churches down? Stop the election. They're worried about Trump never having an election in the United States again. These morons don't even know that's exactly what Zelensky did in Ukraine. He canceled the elections.
Well, it's interesting because No Jab FJB says it's literally crazy how corrupt the city is. So we're talking about corruption.
Yeah, we should move to Ukraine.
There you go. We'll fit right in.
We'll fit right in. No, it is. Of course the city's corrupt. I mean, we know that. I mean, they cover up everything, like I said. And then you got these people spouting off. It just bothers me. Look, you got a problem with put it in the right place. I mean, this is again because I'm still every time I think of what they did to Michelle. Yeah, you can't even the level of anger I get for her being put through that when the work she does for the people, and for her to be viciously attacked by those dumbbells. I mean, between some, and that's why every time I look at her in front of a microphone, I'm 100% convinced they give the bar exam in Massachusetts in crayon. They have to be given the bar exam in crayon. Because when I see some of these people that are supposed to be lawyers, yeah. Sure. No, you're right. I mean, these places is just, and nobody, but you watch them and the attack that they perpetrated and her and Pat Casey, that was like, they could have been if they ever did a remake of Dumb and Dumber and they wanted to have female leads in it rather than male leads, they could use those two, Dumb and Dumber. No, yeah, I remember that. Well, of course I do. But the Democrats are the ones that are saying that MAGA people are terrible and they hate everybody. They hate everybody. They're the ones who hate everybody. They latch on to anything that they think will give them political traction, and anybody that has a different opinion, they don't care. They're still celebrating the murder of Charlie Kirk. You don't hear them really ever.
Speaking of which, Erica Kirk will be on CBS Saturday night, 8 o'clock, in a town hall type meeting, and they're airing it. So let's see what Erica Kirk has to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. And Nelson, Nelson's got but they don't understand and they don't care, Nelson. They're just going to do whatever's politically expedient. That's the problem with these people.
Nelson, had you read the Weekend Flush, you will know that I addressed this.
That's okay? Right.
The city council wants to take away your rights, and more particularly, Sean Kadim wants to take away your rights to control spending. He said it's going to bring Fall River into line with the rest of the state.
Which is a disaster.
Do
you really believe?
The city council and the state and the city departments have all found a way to finagle the $5 million cap. They break the projects into little projects.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, exactly.
$4 million here, $4 million there. That's what they do.
Well, and that's the problem, Nelson. They found a way to circumvent it, and now they're getting so arrogant, they don't even want to go through the trouble of circumventing it by making all these, break it down into little pieces.
Right.
And they come into the cap. Listen, this isn't new. About 100 years ago, when they were buying all their paint from low-price Lenny, and they said he was charging too much money, they put a cap on how much you could spend for paint. $50. And you know what they did? They, so if the paint at the time, it was a long time ago, so paint was like 20-some, but they used to buy it in bulk. The city painters used to go there and buy, 20 cans or whatever. So then what they did was they went out and they bought 1 or 2 cans at a time. They still bought it. But they bought it 1 or 2 cans at a time. This is exactly what the city's doing. They're circumventing it. But now they're giving you the finger again. We're in again, and now we're going to tell you we don't even have to ask your permission. We're going to get right. Do you really truly believe that in Newton you could get away with a capital outlay project without getting the support of the people of Newton? Never. Never. Do you think they're going to override 2.5? Never.
Look at what happens in Somerset, Swansea, Westport. All the people have to vote on those capital projects.
That's right.
And they do them regularly. I guess we're not in line with them, are we?
Well, you know, my response to Sean Kadim is, and I don't agree with him very often, unfortunately, because he is a typical Democrat spendthrift. And he pretend, you know, because he throws around money, he thinks this is seacock. So let me say this to Sean. I will get in line with the rest of the state when we're as financially stable as the rest of the state.
That's right.
I'm not going to be in line with Newton and Cambridge, who are our size and who are 100 times better off financially. I'm not going to be in line with a place like Newton where their per capita income is $100,000 a year and ours is $31,000. No, that's not my line. I'm in the value meal line. They're in the prime steakhouse.
Even the value meals are expensive.
That's right. Even then, I can't afford them anymore. But that's bullshit. That's bullshit, okay? We're not the same. Oh, let's get in line with the state. Okay. Mora, give us the same, give us the lowest heating bill in the state. No, absolutely. I mean, this is absurd. It's absurd. I mean, these people are they're just nuts. And I love the euphemisms they use, and they're typical Democrats, and like they use all this inappropriate affect. And if you don't know what that is, get the psychology book. It means it means you say something or you behave in a manner that doesn't fit the time. In other words, you laugh at a funeral. That's inappropriate affect. That's the prime. I think the prime thing they say in a psych book to explain people what inappropriate affect is. But this is what the city suffers for. Kadim suffers from inappropriate affect. They want to compare us with all the richest cities in the state when they want something that they got.
That's Linda.
But then when we want a break on our freaking taxes, it's like, hey, right there.
That's right.
Shut up. We're going to give all the rich people tax breaks and you're going to get shit. Shut up. That's why they shouldn't be in a council. We should clean out the council. They're crazy. Sean Kadim wants I'll be like Newton when the average income in Fall River per capita income is $100,000. When we get that many rich people in Fall River, well, you can make this like Newton.
Hey, according to Paul, we should be there already with all the market rate housing.
Yeah, but except the market rate housing is full of illegals.
That's right.
The only people making money on market rate housing are
the property owners, the developers.
Listen, I came up. I got this time. You got a little time. I was talking to someone, and someone was telling me about talking to someone who brought up listen, Michelle, I hope you're watching because I'm going to talk to you about this at tax time. Came up with an absolutely brilliant idea. Are you ready for this one? Everybody sit down. This was an individual who's very well versed in finance and mortgages and stuff like that. He said that, and it's done in some places. Why doesn't the city have a 2-tiered residential tax? One for owner-occupied buildings and one for non-owner-occupied buildings. This way, these rich multi-million-dollar developers that own 10,000 units somewhere and don't live in them have to pay more. Because they sure as hell got more wealth to pay it with, don't they? The Democrats are all
then your friends like
the billionaire tax. How about giving me a freaking break and CJ a break? We have owner-occupied.
And your friends like Tony Cadero won't get those breaks.
That's right. That'll never happen because
that's right. That's why it'll never happen.
No.
That's why it'll never happen.
No, they're not going to.
And people like Linda, who made money on having multiple properties, she would never support something like that.
Well, she might if
she's people like Cliff Ponte would never support something like that.
Of course not. But that's a very, 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 very astute way of handling stuff.
Yes, I agree.
You know what else it promotes? It promotes people
home ownership,
and taking care of your property because it's yours. Right. You live there. These absentee landlords don't give a shit what happens to their properties and how bad they look, as long as they're getting the checks.
Right now, there's a
brilliant idea
getting together to go against former property management. So
brilliant.
They want a class action lawsuit against
council. Look, you got Kadeem making 200 G's a year in Seekonk. You got Cliffy, a bazillionaire now.
Yeah.
And all the rest of the people who have a vested interest and their friends have a vested interest because they all own a ton of property. Last thing they want to do is what they want to do is give them TIFs.
Right.
They don't want them to pay more, even though they got the money to pay more. They want them to pay less. Let us pay more. This is why, it's crazy what happens here.
Hello, Adeline.
How you doing? But it's again, it's always about their own self-interest, not the people. And I'm glad that Kilby didn't show up. I'm glad that Bobby Baker and the show up because they showed. I mean, you got elected. You have a responsibility to the office. You represent the people to your last day. You walk out with your head held high and say, I was there till the last day. Even though you didn't reelect me, I'm going to be there because you did me the honor of electing me once. And I did the dishonor of not showing you that you wasted your vote. And some of these people have been in forever. I mean, Kilby's, how long was he on a school committee? And then he's been on a council forever. And Hart went from city council to school committee, back to city council. I mean, these guys are virtually, the chair is glued to their ass. They've been in it so long. I mean, and what have they done for it? For the people? Nothing. I mean, we look at what they've done. There's nothing being done for the people. Taxes. I said that was a great idea. A tiered, owner-occupied people get a break, and all these billionaires, and they are billionaires. Some of these developers, would have to pay more. Heaven forbid. But again, it shows the hypocrisy of the Democrats. All the Democrats will be against this, but they're the ones like Bernie Sanders and the socialists running around saying, tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich, except us. We're rich too. Don't tax us or no tax our friends. That's just a talking point for us. We don't really mean it. We want you poor people to think that we give a damn about you, but it's only a talking point, so don't worry about it. Yeah, well, Tiff was only there for a few months, so
he was appointed. He wasn't elected,
and
and he could not understand that. He could not get that through his head that he was not running for re-election. He was running to be elected, and no matter how many times you corrected him, he took offense to it.
Well, I mean, look, then this is like the philosophical debate. If a tree falls in the forest, does it make a noise if there was nobody there to hear it? So this is a big philosophical. I think his contention is that he was a candidate, he got the votes, and then if those other candidates weren't on the ballot, he would have been in there anyway, so that makes him elected. I don't know. You can come with any kind of logic you want, but I understand that he's saying, I was sitting in that chair, so therefore I was elected to that chair. But as you said, technically it's a technicality, but you weren't elected.
Right, he was appointed. And that's why the charter specifically says that he could not put on the ballot candidate for re-election.
Yeah. Well,
Colin couldn't put candidate for re-election. Yeah, and he took offense to things like that, Gene.
Yeah. No,
he doesn't understand it.
Actually,
you were coming after him, and you're not.
You know something, Gene? That's a more catchy slogan than real
right.
life. Everybody that's sitting in that disaster we call a council can say, "I'm up for re-election. Re-elect me." But if you say, "Hey, bring me back," it kind of says, "Bring me back because I'm going to do something for you." I mean, that's a much catchier phrase. I think he would have done better with that. But yeah, I mean, back to the school department, the mold, the 5% raise, the ridiculousness. I mean, look, as bad as the council meetings are, I mean, the school committee's insane. I mean, this last meeting with Coogan letting her rant and ramble on about something that she should have never done. And, it's mean-spirited. It's mean-spirited because she did the same thing to Michelle.
She did the same thing to us. Remember? She was part of the crew that tried to get us. We're misogynists.
And she's a misandrist, but that's okay. But the difference was when she did that to us, we said, "Sue, come on.
That's right. Come get us.
Bring it on. Bring it on." And like I said, every time I see her do something like this, get up and not understand the rules that had no place there. It's the wrong time, wrong place. Yeah, convinces me, I'm 100% sure that the bar exam in Massachusetts is given in crayon.
You've been saying that for years.
I know. It's like they got little pictures, and so they give you a crayon. Color the picture. That's the right answer. It's like,
hey, people from Captain Kangaroo will remember this. Picture pages, here, all the picture pages. Time to get your crayons and your pencils.
Listen, I mean, look, I've seen some real lawyers operate in Boston courtrooms, and you see real lawyers operate once in a while. It's a vast difference. I mean, I had to testify in court in Fall River and testify in court in Boston on different things. And I've been in arbitrations in both places. And I've seen judges in Fall River help lawyers with their
writing their briefs
like that. And they write their brief for them. In Boston, if you walk into a courtroom and don't have a brief right, the judge will throw you out and say, "Did you go to law school? If you come in my courtroom again like that, I'll dismiss the case."
Nelson, it's a lot easier. It's just like the 10 taxpayer lawsuit. It's real easy to get the 10 taxpayers, but where do you get the money to pay for the lawyers?
Yeah, because the thing about that, Nelson, is that you file a 10 taxpayer lawsuit, it's kind of just a gesture to try to maybe get the rest of the people involved, and you can maybe then initiate something on a ballot, because the reality is that these people have got a lot of money.
That's right. It's our money.
And it's our money, exactly. And they will push this to the Supreme Court of Massachusetts. They're not going to go down. They're going to just delay you and drain you. That's why the old adage, you can't fight City Hall, doesn't mean that City Hall's right all the time. As a matter of fact, they're wrong most of the time. But you don't have the money to fight them. Because what are they going to do? They're going to call, Paul's going to pick up the phone, tell Runaway Rumsey, sick them, go hire some company, and we're going to pay that company with his money, and we're going to drag this damn thing all the way up through the Supreme Court, and he's going to run out of money and go away.
Hey, Watuppa Heights.
Yeah.
2 citizens and an advocacy group. They're finally going to court January 6th.
What was that,
Finally.
5 years ago?
And that's for mediation, not even for trial. If they can't come to an agreement, then it goes to trial. And you and I both know they're not going to come to an agreement.
What was that, 4 or 5 years ago?
More than that.
Yeah, I know. It's absurd. I mean, but this is the problem with government. You know, the reality is, what's the moral of the story, guys? The moral of the story is the only way we can truly get what we want is get good people to run and get out and vote and put them in office. We are the victims of the government. That I'm not saying we, you know, theoretically, well, we are part of that collective, but we at least try. I think everybody here votes that's on our show. I don't think many of them don't vote. I have never missed I've missed primaries because they're of no interest because they're partisan most of the time, unless I have a particular candidate, and that's rare. But I've never missed a final election since I came home from the military, and there are people who never vote, and this is the problem. Because everybody says sue him, sue him, sue him, and like a friend of mine who is extremely one of the best lawyers I have ever known, and one of the top lawyers in the country, said, all you need to file a lawsuit is the filing fee.
That's right.
The problem is, doesn't mean you're going to win. And he said, and it doesn't mean you don't have a good case. If you're fighting somebody with a lot of money, like a city, you better have a lot of money, because that's how they win. They just drain you dry.
That's right. They drain your bank accounts, and that's what happens.
They just drain you. I mean, you know, millionaires can do that. You know, if you hit that, like I always said, you know, they better light novenas every day. I got my Powerball tickets in my wallet right now. I bought some today.
It's almost $1 billion.
Yeah, and they will, I mean, I got about as much chance as a snowball in hell, and I know it. But I'll tell you what, they better hope that I don't hit that thing, because I'm serious, and you guys can hold me to it. You can eviscerate me in the media and everything else, and if I don't take,
I hear you. Hey,
if I don't take some of that money and sue this city's ass into the next millennium, I'm telling you.
Just for all of you people who have been calling that you did not get your LIHEAP, Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program application or recertification paperwork. I've done a lot of investigation, a lot of it. And I have found out that Citizens for Citizens is using the excuse that the post office has returned unopened and undeliverable thousands of applications. And when you call in, they give you a voicemail to leave your name and address so they can mail you an application which has already been returned. Or you can fill it out online, or you can go into the office and fill out the application. If you fill it out online, it just delays the inevitable. Because what will happen when they finally get to it, sometime in April, is that they will turn around and say they need all this documentation. And if they don't get it by April 30th, you don't qualify.
Yeah.
They're going to drag you out.
Gene, if we can get enough people to donate, we'll take it to court. Thank you, Nelson. And if we get people like us, look, we tried that once and we got a few people to donate, but maybe this might be the thing. I don't know. Maybe we can get some donations from some organizations and stuff, some low-income organizations. But I'll tell you what, if they ram that increase down, they're fundamentally creating what they call an adverse selection, where they take the poorest people and carve them out in healthcare. That's a healthcare.
A reporter from Commonwealth Beacon looked at that. Yeah. And guess what? It's not adverse selection. It's just that Liberty Utilities was the only one to file for the increase. Eversource instead decided to settle the lawsuit and pay out $54 million.
Yeah, but the difference is that you can hold, it is still adverse selection. They're still taking the poorest people. Now, because they're going to use a technicality, so what Maura Healey is fundamentally saying is she would authorize it for the whole state, but that does not absolve the state from doing their job. Remember, we have her on video saying what? She was going to fight heating increases, correct? Didn't she say that?
I believe so.
She said that. So she can't get out of this by saying, well, I got most of the state to do it, except for Fall River, because that's an adverse selection like in healthcare. What is adverse selection in healthcare? You take all the sick people, throw them out of the plan, and make a plan for them, and then you got to charge them $1 bazillion because they all got medical bills in the millions, and they're not offset by the healthy people. That is illegal in many places. So, but that's it.
Well, your argument here is going to be with the Department of Public Utilities because they're the ones that are going to have the say.
And then you're going to have billions of complaints. They got a lot of money.
Yep. Send in your complaints. Don't waste your time. Okay? Send in your complaints and let them know that you don't think it's fair that Fall River is being isolated for this rate increase. I want to thank you all for watching, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Friday. Have a great day, and it's going to rain, so enjoy this 50-degree rain because tomorrow it's going to be cold again. Have a good night.
Later.